And then you can't take your eyes off of this. OFC Creations is bringing the musical hit Jersey Boys to the stage starting this week. We're going to be getting a closer look at the production with some of the cast.
And then later on, it is all glitter and gold for the annual Sing Out fundraiser. We'll be previewing the upcoming musical review by having a special in-studio performance from some of the students who are performing for this year.
But before all of that, we do want to get a check of some of our top local headlines. Stephanie Joseph standing by with our Tuesday morning news break.
Well, good morning there, guys. We began with a former corrections officer entering a guilty plea to manslaughter in the death of Rochester native Robert Brooks. Now, Christopher Walrath appeared before an Oneida County judge on Monday, admitting to his role in the December beating death of Brooks. He now faces 15 years in prison and 5 years post-release supervision at sentencing. Now, Brooks was transferred to Marcy Correctional Facility while serving a 12-year sentence for assault. When the encounter happened, he died the next day. Walrath was initially charged with second-degree murder alongside 5 other corrections officers. 3 other officers are charged with manslaughter, and another faces an evidence tampering charge. But the special prosecutor says the pain Walrath inflicted was non-lethal, as most of the serious harm happened in the emergency room. The son of Robert Brooks responding to the plea in a statement that said in part, quote, "I pray that Mr. Walrath has the opportunity in prison to rehabilitate himself and come out a better man. This is what every single person in prison deserves, but it was viciously taken away from my father." Walrath is expected to return to court for sentencing in early August. Irondequoit's race for town supervisor is quickly becoming one to watch, with questions swirling about whether embattled incumbent Andre Evans will try for an independent run. He won't say yet. At the ballot box this fall, Democrat John Perticone and Republican Anthony Costanza will go head-to-head. Costanza, a former town assessor, says he's hearing a clear message from voters. Perticone, a current town board member, says he's hearing many of the same concerns, particularly when it comes to public safety and quality of life. Meantime, Evans continues to deny sexual harassment and retaliation claims, even as he faces a court date this October, where the Monroe County District Attorney is pushing to have him removed from office. Evans has not responded to our request for comment on whether he plans to run as an independent. An 18-year-old Rochester man now faces murder charges after a teen girl shot last week died. Police say 17-year-old Dani Elise Pabon-Cubero was hit by a stray bullet inside a home on Alphonse Street early Wednesday. Investigators say Michael Garcia fired several rounds outside the house, targeting another man. Garcia was originally charged with assault, but those charges have been upgraded to murder following Pabon-Cubero's death. Garcia was later taken into custody after an hours-long standoff in Brockport. Authorities say additional charges may be filed against other people. Police are also investigating the shooting and are asking anyone with information to call one of the numbers here on your screen: 911, Crime Stoppers 423-9300, or RPD's Homicide Unit at 428-7157. And we are working to learn more about why a Geneva police officer has been placed on administrative leave. The department confirms Officer Michael Tapscott has been suspended. We are trying to find out what led to the action and whether any investigation or disciplinary process is underway. The Geneva police chief says he cannot confirm anything at this time. For all these top stories and any updates, be sure to visit our website, 13wham.com. Back to you.
All right, Steph, thanks. We'll switch gears now and get a look at the forecast. We are still going to have some gloomy skies looming out there today.
Yeah, meteorologist standing by, meteorologist Marty Snyder, just meteorologist. Marty Snyder standing by this morning with a look at that forecast, and maybe we'll see a couple of breaks of sun, Marty?
I think so, yeah, and even already areas to our southwest are getting back into at least some of those breaks, so may not turn into a sunny day, but yeah, I think we're going to see some of those breaks work in. What's left of the rain, that's in the process of moving out. Notice the one portion that has been across a lot of Monroe County, that continues to move north. It may linger to the east into central New York a little longer. We're still seeing that one line line up through the eastern Finger Lakes. That's going to push east into central New York, but for us, I think we will see a few breaks work in, and there you can see just to our southwest, portions of Genesee County, Wyoming County getting into some of those breaks of sun, and I think that one break in the clouds will do the same thing as what the rain did. That's going to lift up and into our area, kind of the same footprint of where that rain was just a little while ago, and that break in the clouds will follow suit as far as how the the movement of that will go. We'll see temperatures rise to about 68 at noon. That'll likely be the high temperature. Then we pull back a little bit through the afternoon. Late afternoon, heading into the evening, that's when a few more showers and thunderstorms form. So we will see some changes play out. We'll go back and forth between some rain and some breaks of sun today, but I think we'll end with some of that rain. And eventually by next week, I think we'll be back into the 70s, so at least something to look forward to. And between now and then, it's just that gradual transition to more breaks of sunshine over upcoming days. So slow transition, but at least there is some more hope compared to all the cloud cover and drizzle and showers that we have been seeing over many of these recent days.
All right, Marty.
All right, thank you very much. Hey, how about we go off the top now, Abigail?
Sure, why not?
Let's do it. I'm going to start with the stories that have piqued our interest. I'll kick things off this morning, and today I do want to talk about the Met Gala. It was last night, right? So it's billed as this big celebration of fashion, art, and creativity. And yeah, it raises a lot of money for the Costume Institute at the Metropolitan Museum of Art. But I can't help but wonder, is it relevant, or is it doing more harm than good? So it's dubbed the Oscars of fashion, and I feel like that kind of says a lot. This year, the event set a record, raising more than $37 million. A single ticket to the gala costs $75,000. That's nearly double the median income. And the Met already has assets worth over $6 billion. $6 billion. Isn't that enough? How much more does that museum need? Why not put the money somewhere else to make an actual difference in the world? And here's something else I can't help thinking about. Is it really appropriate to praise the ultra-wealthy for their fashion choices? Most of them don't pay for those outfits. They were dressed by teams, styled by sponsors, given things for free just for being famous. Then we give them our time and attention. But what are we applauding? Because while we're obsessing over who wore what, there are things that we could be doing and putting our energy into. Our fellow human beings, curing cancer, actual happiness, all of the things we claim to care about when we're tired of Instagram or how fake the world sometimes feel. It's said comparison is the thief of joy. So if that's true, maybe we should stop handing out invitations to the robbery.
Wow.
Am I right? What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I know that there are a lot of people that enjoy watching the Met Gala. I think aside from the raising money portion of it and how much money is being taken in, I know that a lot of people look forward to it as a night of entertainment, right? Like you just talked about how some call it the Oscars of fashion. I think, you know, I really have never given it a ton of thought other than, you know, I kind of look forward to seeing it the next day. But it's definitely food for thought.
Yeah. I don't know. It just kind of rubs me the wrong way for whatever reason.
I agree. I mean, I think that there are a lot of problems that need to be addressed in the world, right?
And like $37 million, that money could go toward something much greater.
Yeah. Well, hey, I mean, you know, things have definitely gotten more tense over the past few years when it comes to financials. And I think that institutions are definitely becoming more aware of the impact their actions are having on people around the world. I think, you know, maybe in the next couple of years, it wouldn't shock me if the people that run the Met take a step back and say, okay, maybe we should reevaluate how we're spending this money. Maybe we should reevaluate the efforts that are being done here. I don't know.
I
think you know, change has to be gradual for it to be effective, right? Nothing is going to happen overnight. It wouldn't shock me if in a couple years they say we've decided to do X, Y, and Z because of whatever's happening in the world right now.
I say we put you in charge.
Oh boy, thank you. I don't know.
Big shoes to fill, but they're fancy and expensive shoes, I suppose, right?
Mine are falling apart.
Oh, no, they're not.
It's all right. They literally are. Anyways, okay. We'll move along to my story now. We're talking about the closure of Rite Aid stores in the United States. The pharmacy chain announcing plans to close all 178 New York State locations. All right, so this all comes as Rite Aid files for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection for the second time in 2 years. The company is citing financial challenges like debt, inflation, and increased competition. Ultimately, though, the struggles go back to 2023 when Rite Aid filed for bankruptcy the first time. Rite Aid has faced hundreds and hundreds of lawsuits, mostly surrounding the opioid epidemic. The company's been accused of overdispensing painkillers, failing to catch suspicious prescriptions, and ultimately contributing to the national opioid crisis, something that I've talked about quite a bit. We know just how many people have been affected by this. Everybody knows somebody who has had to deal with addiction, specifically surrounding opioids, and it's devastating. So Rite Aid has paid millions of dollars in settlements. More cases are still pending. That ultimately has led to a big portion of their downfall. For the locations that'll close, the implications will likely be serious. We've seen other stores like Rite Aid close before, especially in our area. Those who live in rural and underserved areas may face some of the most significant challenges here. Some may see this as just a store, it's just a dying industry. The pharmacies, though, provide vaccinations, health screenings, and consultations for those in need. It also carries affordable food options in areas that may be considered food or pharmaceutical deserts. The closure of locations could create health and nutrition disparities in those areas. Additionally, a lot of people rely on nearby stores for convenience and affordability. People may end up needing to travel farther to get their medicine, which, if they don't have reliable transportation, could force them to just not take their medicine at all. Other factors here include job loss for the employees that work there, right? You think about the cashiers, people that do the security, the people that do the cleaning at the end of the night. The impact that the closures would have on nearby businesses that also rely on foot traffic from Rite Aids. And also the stress that other pharmacies may face when they need to pick up the slack, ultimately leading to longer wait times, overcrowding, and supply shortages as well. So a lot of people are wondering, what does this mean for our area? Well, there are 12 stores in the greater Rochester region. We've reached out to Rite Aid representatives to confirm if those are among the closures. We have not heard back yet, but of course, we will keep you posted. A lot to think about here, especially when you take in all of those elements into consideration. We were talking in the newsroom before, and it's disheartening for sure. Another store, another chain closing, and you don't think about the ripple effects it's going to have on people in our area and in surrounding areas as well.
And just last year, we saw a handful of pharmacies within the Rochester region, big name pharmacies, shutter.
Yes.
And that's created its own issue. So if you're now taking out even more, that's only adding to that problem. And I like the fact that you mentioned the food deserts and pharmaceutical deserts, because that's absolutely what it creates when these are pulled out.
You look at what's on the shelves at Rite Aid, and a lot of it is non-perishable items, right? So you've got your typical snacks, right? But then they also do carry healthy food, so soups, proteins, tinned fish, cases of water, things like that are necessities. You don't think about it when you're fortunate enough to have a grocery store within walking distance, or fortunate enough when you can
have a car to drive to a grocery store.
Exactly. Yeah. But for some people, this is really going to be disheartening if it ends up being something that's impacting our 12 stores locally.
Yeah. We'll definitely continue to follow that for you and keep you posted as we learn more.
Time right now is 8:14. When we come back, we'll check in with Chris Lopez, who's learning more about the birds, the bees, and the brews.
Hey, and don't forget, you can take us on the go wherever you're headed. That's because Arc Rochester is streaming live right now on the 13 Wham YouTube channel. We're back on the other side of the break. 8:17 this morning, and this Friday, the Seneca Park Zoo is welcoming the warmer months with a wild fundraiser.
Yeah, it's called Birds, Bees, and Brews. It's a tasting event that'll showcase the zoo's wildlife while local vendors serve up craft brews. Chris Lopez is live there this morning giving us a preview. Chris, I can't see. Is it a polar bear?
We got Anoki out bright and early this morning. She is feasting. I thought it was a salt rock, but it's not. She's feasting right now. That event is happening Friday. Starts at 5:30, goes until 8:30. Last call for those brews is going to be at 8:15. They're going to have plenty of local vendors here. Three Heads Brewery for some beers. You're going to have Happy Gut Sanctuary if you want some kombucha. If you want some caffeine, a little bit of kick to end your night. Joe Bean Coffee Roasters will be here, and that's just to name a few. They're going to have a ton of regional and local vendors here, as well as some food vendors. And we're going to be talking polar bears in this segment, and that's what people will be able to see and be educated on when they come here on Friday. We bring in Randy and Heidi this morning. Let's talk nothing but Anoki. For those who have no idea, have never seen Anoki before, how old is she?
Anoki is 28 years old, and she
28.
was born here at Seneca Park Zoo back in 1996.
And 28 years old, how long do polar bears live for roughly? Where's she at in her stage?
Average lifespan is about early 20s for polar
Okay.
bears, so she's definitely past
Wow,
that.
she's doing so good then.
Yeah, she's doing great.
And then what is she eating? I thought she was licking off of a salt rock like goats do, but she's not. She's eating stuff, right?
Yeah, so on that toy, I put applesauce and duck fat, but she also has some fish and produce and pork in the other feeder balls around the yard.
And how's she doing? I was here last year. She didn't go into the water at all. She stayed out like she's doing right now. What's her personality like?
She's very playful, especially this time of year. She's really amping up, and as it gets warmer, she's going to be in that pool more.
Got the ball right now. Is that one of her favorite toys that she like?
Yeah, so there's a lot of pork in there.
Oh, there's pork. Okay. So what does her diet mainly consist of? I was hearing a lot of fish, salmons, things like that, mackerel.
Yes, we feed the fattiest foods that we can for her.
Okay.
Polar bears would naturally be eating seals for that fat source, so we just substitute with fatty fish and pork.
And for polar bears, what are some things people don't know about polar bears that they should know? When they come here on Friday, are they going to be talking to you guys when they get to this area?
Yeah, I'll be here at the event,
Okay.
so we'll have Anoki out doing some fun things. I think the most important thing that people should know about polar bears is up in the Arctic, they are affected by climate change, and what affects them affects us too. So Heidi and I both had the chance to be up in Churchill to learn about climate change messaging and bring that back to our facility and our community.
And how is it affecting polar bears? I know that a lot of zoos are trying to bring them in, but there was a report yesterday that Antarctica gained a little bit of ice. How do you think that affects the polar bears?
So everything fluctuates for sure.
Okay.
There are some polar bear populations in the far north where they don't lose ice at all.
Okay.
It's really the southern populations where they are losing the sea ice a lot more often. And the polar bears that we have in zoos were all born in facilities. We don't take any from up in the Arctic area. So it's just right now the issue with polar bears in zoos is reproduction.
Okay. And how are you guys going about that? I know that she was artificially insemination, but it didn't work with Anoki. Is that one of the ways that you guys are trying to bring about more polar bears?
Yeah, so there's never been a successful AI in a polar bear, but they keep trying, and really it's just trying to find the right pairing between males and females in different facilities.
And what's a cool fun fact about Anoki?
So Anoki, when I started, I worked with her mom, but I actually got to see Anoki as a cub. And
It's pretty cool. We have multi-generations of zookeepers taking care of multi-generations of polar bears.
Oh,
so
that's
it's kind of
awesome.
neat, yeah.
How was her mom in terms of personality?
She was feisty.
Feisty?
Yeah.
I love that.
Feisty, spicy.
Same diet, eating a ton of fatty fishes and then pork inside the ball there. That's pretty awesome.
Lard.
Lard?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
How often does Anoki go inside the water?
Every day.
Every
Yeah.
day? She's
She
going
goes in
there
every day.
for a
Yep.
dip every day?
Yep.
Favorite weather? Winter?
Yeah.
Wintertime? I'm sorry, Anoki. All right, you guys on Friday will be able to talk to Heidi and Randy. They'll be here. Birds, Bees, and Brews kicking off at 5:30, going until 8:30. Last call, 8:15. You can sip some brews, watch Anoki eat some pork out of a ball. Back to you guys in studio.
Look at him.
I know. So cute.
Just having fun over there.
Yeah.
Walking around, chilling out, waking up, saying, hello, world.
Yeah. Big
here.
fan of Arc Rochester.
Big fan of Arc Rochester.
Yeah.
I hear they have a TV for
No
that
better
polar
way
bear
to
to watch.
start the day.
Exactly. Hey, stick around. When we come back, meteorologist Mark McLean will join us with today's weather trivia.
We're back after this.
You know what we're going to just do now? We're just going to introduce meteorologist Mark McLean.
All right, it's Tuesday.
I feel like we need like confetti or like happy. Ta-da,
Happy
music
Tuesday?
when you're here.
We should have like those confetti guns that are in the ground. Can we get some of those for the studio?
Ashley could just like pop it whenever.
Yes.
Before we
Feels
get
like-
that, though, we need fail music.
That'd be playing a lot more than the confetti.
Oh, man.
Let's talk some trivia. Okay, so today's trivia is about heat. So how hot do you think it's ever been in weather? And this could be anywhere on the planet. So you let your imagination run wild. Our weather trivia question today is about hot temperatures. What is the highest temperature ever recorded on the Earth's surface? Now, granted, this is outside of a laboratory or outside of a nuclear test detonation or something that would generate excessive amounts of heat.
And we're going back to what, 1890?
Yeah, most of the
Four?
records go back to the 1800s. Some of them a little bit longer than that in New England and parts of Europe, but around here it's early 1870s. And certainly, obviously, Rochester is not
And was
the
this,
leader on
are
this
these
list.
local?
These are not, well, they don't have to be, they could be local, but you live in New York State, so you know that these temperatures are not occurring in New York State. So was it 150 degrees? Was it 139 degrees? 134 degrees or 125 degrees?
Okay, I think I know.
I have it
Okay.
narrowed down to 2.
Okay. And there was, I will say this, there was an unofficial temperature that was higher than the actual value as well. And we can talk about that at 9 a.m.
Where was that one from?
That was in northern Africa. Yep. So that was sometimes in weather, the air goes down and it downslopes. So as it goes back to the Mediterranean, you can get that air coming off the Sahara Desert, and as it sinks, it really compresses and warms. And unofficially, they had a temperature that was pretty high.
Can I ask you
Yeah.
this? Was it a dry heat or was it like a humid heat?
This would be dry heat.
Okay.
Ooh, so we're
almost.
talking desert air.
Yeah. The most humid spot near the Persian Gulf of the planet, you can get dew points in the mid and upper 90s.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I was actually talking to Christian Garzone about that a couple of days ago because he was over there in his tour of duty, and he said it was absolutely stifling. just had to drink. You drink water constantly, and the guys are taking IV bags constantly. Just for the salt and the water intake. But yeah, we'll have the answer coming up. Take a shot at that. It's on Facebook as well. We look forward to your responses, and we'll talk about the forecast here too this morning. We actually are starting off with a weather alert. It's a flood warning. Now, this one was canceled at 4 o'clock this morning and reissued. Parts of Livingston County, parts of Wyoming County, and that also stretches down into parts of Steuben County, just outside of our viewing area. But this is until 10:30 this morning. And what we have a few local storm reports from the National Weather Service down that way. They actually had to deploy a boat to get some folks out of a residence down there just south of Dansville and Canisteo. This is a flood-prone area, especially if we get training showers, and that's what the case was on State Route 34 and State Route. It was at 268. It was closed because of some of the water. But back closer to home, we do have some showers off to the east of Rochester. Those continue to lift from the south to the north as they begin to move off to the east. And still that same story. Remember yesterday I put the big spinning cutoff low on the screen, and we've actually had some commentary from some folks about the large area.
They don't like it, Mark.
Yeah. This is not a fan favorite.
Fan favorite.
No, but I'll say this: if this happens in May, the results are a lot better than if this happened back in March. If this happens in March, it is just constant rain or snow, and you just get this gloomy weather without any breaks of sun. But it's cut off low pressure, and it's going to be lifting to the northeast next couple of days. So we'll keep the passing showers in through early Thursday, and it looks like for the start of the Lilac Festival by Friday, Saturday, things start to clean out pretty nicely for us. But Futurecast, we'll have to watch this too. Look at central New York. Notice how a lot of the showers are off to the east towards Syracuse as we move through time. Some of the rain amounts there could be a little bit higher, and may lead to a little bit of localized flooding out towards Oswego County, areas well east of Rochester. So that's through later tonight. We'll have to watch that. But I don't see a lot of rain around town. Maybe another 1/10 of an inch or so. Could catch a clap of thunder. Temps in the upper 60s for us. That's pretty seasonable. 7-day forecast has numbers dropping back into the 50s, so a little damp and cooler there Thursday. Stays cool for the start of the Lilac Festival Friday, and we get back to some sunshine for the weekend, back to the 70s next week. But one thing that we should all like about this forecast. First, it looks nice for Mom. We're going to try to keep it that way on Sunday for Mom. But the second part of this is the cool air, the high relative humidity levels, and the lack of wind the last few days, really good things for the Lilac Festival. Okay, so the flower petals last longer. They stay fresher when it stays cooler outside, so it should be a pretty good show for this weekend and next week.
Great place to take Mom after Sunday morning brunch.
I think so, and I would wear the boots definitely because it's been wet lately, and it can be a little gushy there at times. But
is that the scientific term?
Yeah, a little bit too much water in the topsoil.
Better gushy than too dry.
Yeah, for this time of the year especially. Yeah. And we were technically abnormally dry according to the drought monitor for parts of western New York. So this wet weather pattern has really kind of put a dent in that too.
Good for us.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Good stuff.
Thank you, sir.
Yep.
Time right now is 8:30. Don't go anywhere. We still have a lot to come for the next hour and a half on Arc Rochester.
We're back right after this. 5:32. Thanks so much for sticking with us here on ARC Rochester this Tuesday. We want to turn our attention now to our next guest and get a closer look inside the minds of some of the world's greatest athletes.
Jim Murphy is a performance coach who wrote Inner Excellence, a book that most recently was seen on the sidelines of an Eagles game in the hands of receiver A.J. Brown.
Yeah, he's joining us now this morning to tell us more about that book and what it can teach readers about mindful performance. Thank you so much for waking up with us. We appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So for someone sitting at home who saw the story but is unfamiliar with the book, would you describe that for us?
Yeah, well, Inner Excellence is a in-depth system on how to train your mind for peace and confidence under the most pressure. And in North America and the world today, there's so much fear and anxiety and tension in the world, and even violence, and so much out of our control. So Inner Excellence really shows you how to develop inner peace and inner strength by focusing on what you value most and who you can be, and letting go of self-centeredness and your past so you can become who you're meant to become.
I want to dive into the book a little more in just a minute, but first I want to know the story behind writing the book. What kind of thing happened that made you go, you know what, I feel like I know enough about this where I'm going to write a book?
Yeah, it's a great question, because I did not set out to write the book. I was a pro baseball player, and I lost my career. I got injured, and then my identity was completely wrapped up in my ability to play pro baseball. And so when I lost it, I felt like I lost everything. I ended up going to the desert to live a life of solitude. I was driving a truck for FedEx and didn't know what to do with my life next, and left for the desert to live a life of solitude, gave away over half my possessions. And when I was there, I decided to become a personal coach to pro baseball players and teach them how to have peace and confidence under pressure. And I started working on a little manual, because my first two clients did amazing. So I work on a little manual to give to future clients. And I call up a sports psychologist and ask him, how can an Olympic athlete train for 4 years for an event that may last less than a minute and have peace and confidence in that situation? And that led to more questions and answers. So I called another and another, and I spent 5 years full-time writing and researching that question, which became the book Inner Excellence.
Let me ask, in your time of doing all of that research, did you learn anything, did anything stand out to you that you were like, I wish I had known this when I was leaving baseball?
Oh my gosh, yeah, I learned so much. The big thing that I learned is that the heart is the key to your life. When I say heart, I mean your spirit, your will. We're far more than thinking machines. We got to get deeper into your heart and soul, where your greatest fears are and your greatest dreams are. That's where the power is. And so our human nature is self-centered. Just think about your day. Everything is around, what am I going to do? What are my goals? What am I going to eat? What are my plans today? And that's the way we have to live. But it's when you think about yourself, your subconscious reminds you of all your failures and weaknesses. So we start to compare with others, and then we start to feel anxiety and fear. And so learning that selfless is fearless, and that we're created for relationship is so important and powerful to know.
I imagine that there is no 10-step process for finding inner excellence, but what are some of the pieces of advice you'd have for somebody who is maybe sitting out there struggling with some of the same things that you talk about in your book?
Well, with so much anxiety, like, to put one foot in front of the other, we really need to make sure that we're focusing on what's possible in our lives and letting go of our past, and not focusing on what we can't control, because it can be a scary place out there. And if you focus on what you don't want and can't control, then you're going to get filled with anxiety. And so with Inner Excellence, every day our number one goal is to learn and grow. And we want to learn and grow in love, wisdom, and courage. But we have 4 basic goals that we do every day to learn and grow. And the number one is to give the best of what you have every day, realizing that some days you're only going to have 30 or 40% of your best. So don't expect 100 when you only got 30 or 40, but we're going to give 100% of that 30%. And then number 2 is to be present, because there's no fear when you're present. And then number 3 is gratitude. Gratitude is directly linked to inner peace and inner strength. And number 4 is to focus on your routines. And like I said, only what you can control.
Jim, I'm wondering if you have any tips or tricks, pieces of advice. I feel like a lot of us often get stuck in a mindset and we want to power through. We want to, whether it's get ourselves to the gym, get ourselves to do more studying, to try and better ourselves in a certain way, and we just can't get out of that mindset. Is there something shiny out there you can point us to that will redirect our attention so we lose sight of the obvious and go for the goal?
Yeah, I mean, there's two things I'll give you right away. One, just try and get 1% better. Don't go for something huge. Just a little bit better. Set get your gym clothes ready for the next day. See if you can do that. And then the other thing is to recognize that the biggest need that you have is unconditional love. Your greatest desire is to be fully known and fully loved. And most people are going to spend their entire lives trying to get more symbols of success so they can get that feeling, and rather than going for it directly.
Wow. Fantastic advice. I see why it became so popular shortly after the NFL season wrapped up. Jim, thank you so much for your time today. We really appreciate it. For somebody sitting at home, innerexcellence.com, is that a good place for them to pick up a copy of your book?
You can get it in bookstores all over the world now, wherever they sell books in English. Innerexcellence.com is a great place to go sign up for the newsletter and find out about all the workshops and retreats.
Perfect. Jim, thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Take care.
Time right now is 8:39. Much more to come, including when we come back, we'll check in again with Chris Lopez, who is hanging with the animals this morning.
And don't forget, you can watch us on the go wherever you're headed. Arc Rochester is streaming live right now on the 13 Wham YouTube channel.
This Friday, the Seneca Park Zoo is hosting a fundraiser that sounds like it's going to be a lot of fun. It's called Birds, Bees, and Brews.
Yeah, it's an after-hours event, and it's supposed to be wild, and a wild way to support the zoo. Chris Lopez is there learning more about the... Oh, look at that. We got a giraffe, Chris.
Yeah, that's Iggy right here, and I'm going to make sure I keep it down a little bit. I guess they don't like someone who's yelling, so we're going to X that out of here. Not too much movement. We want to keep them here, and we want to keep them pegged. The tallest one is Iggy. JD has lighter lips than anyone else, and that's all I got for you in terms of names. And for more on names and personalities, I'm going to bring in Allison. I'm going to bring in Lindsay. They have been feeding these two. And what are we, I know the camera can't see right now, but what are we feeding them, or what are you guys feeding them?
So right now we're feeding them grain, which is it's an herbivore diet that we give them just to kind of help supplement.
This looks exactly what my goats. It looks exactly like what my goats eat.
Yep.
What else do they eat?
So we give them a lot of hay, and we give them a mixture of hay. So they get alfalfa and then also first and second cutting hay.
Okay.
And they also can get different types of produce. They get carrots for training, and we also give them lots of lettuce.
For training, what do you mean by training?
So we train with them almost every day,
Okay.
and we do a lot of different medical type training.
Okay.
So they voluntarily will help with their own medical things. So like we do injection training.
Okay.
We do foot care training just to keep their hooves trimmed. We do blood draw training, that kind of thing.
How long? So you spout out all the names easily. How long have you guys been working with them, roughly?
So I've been here almost 2 years now. Yep.
And Lindsay.
I've been here. Oh,
That's
okay.
Sorry, guys.
I've been here since we've started with the giraffe, so it's 2018 when we opened.
And then personality-wise, do each and every one of them have their own different personality traits? And if you could describe a few. The tallest one is Iggy right over here.
Allison knows all the personalities.
Okay.
So Iggy is kind of our sassiest giraffe. She definitely has a bit of an attitude.
She's coming back for more food right now. This is Iggy here.
Yep. And then JD over here, he's definitely a weird one.
He's a weird one?
Yes. He's not always with it as much as the other giraffes. It can be hard to get him to focus sometimes, but we love him. He's very fun.
And I see they're hanging out with the zebras a little bit. They don't get too much interaction with them. They're not too friendly, but they do hang out with them a little bit.
Yeah, they get along really well. But they don't interact too much. They kind of just coexist with each other and share space.
When they're not eating, what are they doing?
They will stand around a lot and they chew their cud because they are ruminants. So yeah, they'll usually just be standing around chewing their cud or eating. Or sometimes they'll lay down.
When it comes to giraffes, what's something people don't really know about them that you think that they should know? Or maybe a fun fact about these guys.
Fun fact. What is fun fact? I mean, they have very good eyesight.
Yeah.
Extremely good eyesight. So we can change our color, our uniforms one time, and they thought we were strangers.
Oh, really?
we went from brown to blue, so it's extremely good eyesight.
Do they get familiar with you two feeding them, and then they get very comfortable with you guys? Because I noticed you guys are holding the buckets. They go right up to you.
Yeah.
I held the bucket. Only Iggy came up to me. Everyone else ran away.
Yeah.
Well, we're hoping by Memorial Day everyone can feed them, because every year we usually do giraffe feeds. So
Memorial Day is first day of giraffe
the
feeds.
Saturday before Memorial Day. Yeah, but every Memorial Day it's like a new day for them. Even though they've done it every single year, we have to acclimate them back to a giraffe feed and strangers feeding them.
Who's this coming up right here?
That's Elliot.
Elliot?
Yep.
Yeah, and he's one of our newer giraffes.
Okay.
Him and his sister, Kura, came here back in October, and they came from the San Diego Wildlife Park.
Let me try and feed real quick before we end this hit.
Actually, if you want to take some carrots down there.
Okay.
Or,
I'll take a carrot.
Go right ahead.
Iggy? Anyone? Carrots? Live? Here you go. Guys, Birds, Bees, and Brew this Friday, starting at 5:30, goes until 8:30. Last call, 8:15. Plenty of local vendors here for you to sip on. Plenty of local food here for you to eat on as well. And I'm scaring the giraffes. I'm sending it back. That's my cue. I'm sending it back to studio.
Those guys
Love
are so cool.
seeing them. Yes. Cool. Thank you, Lopez. Appreciate it.
Time right now is 8:47. Oh, wouldn't that be nice? 8:47.
Yeah, you wish.
When we come back, we have this week's Crime Stoppers.
Ark Rochester returns on the other side of the break. Welcome back, 8:49 this morning. Next week, Rochester police will mark 12 years since the murder of Kiara Jones on York Street. And this morning, they're reissuing calls for help in that case.
According to officers, Jones was with a group of people when she was shot and killed. Joining us now is RPD Captain Greg Bello and Lieutenant Joe Graham from the Major Crimes Unit. Thank you both so much for being here. We
Thank you
appreciate
for having
it.
us.
Yeah, let's get right into it. 12 years ago that this tragically happened. If you don't mind, give us a recap of what we know so far.
Sure. So like you said, the case has got a little bit of time on it. It's May 2013, and there's a number of people gathered at a house at 90 York Street. They're gathered for a graduation party, time of the year for graduations. There's people inside the house, outside the house, in front of the house. About 10 o'clock that evening, it's dark. I looked at some of the crime scene photos, very dark street. But the witnesses tell us a gold SUV approached the location, and there were 3 people in this car. There was a driver, 2 passengers, passenger in the front, passenger in the rear. Both those passengers were armed, and as they approached the party, they just began indiscriminately firing into that crowd. Unfortunately, 20-year-old Kiara Jones was shot multiple times and died a short time later. There were 2 other victims, 21-year-old male who was found up the street. He was shot in the face, non-life-threatening, and a 3rd victim who was brought to the hospital by a friend. She had also been shot, non-life-threatening wounds. Very chaotic scene, as you can imagine, a party with multiple people shot. When the dust settled, the investigators, the officers working the case could find no reason for those 3 people to be targeted for this type of shooting. So we have multiple suspects, multiple victims, multiple witnesses. We do believe there are people who know something about this incident and could provide us information.
But there's no reason that you have been able to come up with that this act took place. No reason behind those 3 targets.
Those 3 targets, no. There was some other activity in that neighborhood at the time that may be related, and the detectives and the investigators looked into that.
So at the time, I imagine no Ring doorbells, no security cameras, and it's been so long that any kind of surveillance video or anything is probably long gone at this point.
Yeah, probably. And so what we're looking for here is that we know there's some activity in the neighborhood, some disputes going on in the neighborhood. In fact, there was a shooting a week or 2 later in which somebody was convicted for, and which was potentially a retaliation from this shooting. And so we know, based on some of the people involved, that there's people out there that know who did this, right? With the different beefs that were going on, the different, the retaliatory shooting a couple weeks later, where a 17-year-old pregnant female was shot, allegedly as retaliation for this. So there's people that know. We know some people that are involved. We don't have enough to arrest them, but we know some of the people involved. And that's where, even 12, 13 years later, that one little bit of information, that somebody to come forward, their conscience, to say, yeah, this is unacceptable. She's 20 years old. She's a young lady that had a full life in front of her. She did not deserve this. To come forward and help hold these people accountable, because we know there's at least 2 shooters involved in it. We have 40 caliber casings. We have shotgun casings. We have 2 different weapons involved. So there's multiple shooters. We know there's people that know, right? There's 3 people in the car. At some point, somebody's conscience has to ring true and say, you know what, this is not okay. Even over a decade later, this is not okay, and that something needs to be done about this.
How often is it that little piece of information, that one puzzle piece that might help solve the whole thing, how often is it that's information somebody out there already thinks the police have? They think you already know this. Why do I need to call? They know what they're doing. They already know what kind of, tire tracks were left.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to put a number on how often that happens, but I'll tell you, I've been to cases where myself, I've gone that night and said, wow, there's no way we solve this. Boom, something happens and those detectives take off running with it and it gets solved. So anything can help us.
When it comes to the number of people at that party that night, I imagine that they've been pretty helpful coming forward and sharing what they know. Is that right?
Yeah, so some more than others, and that's where we're looking for. There's people at that party, there's people in the car that know who those guys were that were pulling the trigger, who shot Kiara, who shot those other 2 individuals. And, back to your question, Dan, about people thinking we may know something. We might know something or think we know something, but without somebody coming forward and being that witness for us, without somebody coming forward and firming that up for us, where we get to that reasonable belief to make an arrest, right? That probable cause to make an arrest, that that beyond a reasonable doubt to get that conviction. What we think we know, or the leads we're following, are not necessarily enough to convict somebody, and that's where we need that help from our community, from the people that were there, from, maybe somebody who's in the car that has a change of heart of, man, I did something I shouldn't have done. The shooter holding themselves accountable. Anything helps us solve these cases. No
All
matter how
these years
small.
later, how is Kiera's family?
So, again, we're working. They lost their loved one. She's 20 years old, full life ahead of them, or ahead of her. I apologize. And two other people were also pretty seriously injured. One male got shot in the face. That's lifelong injuries. And so, anything we can do to help bring closure to those two surviving victims, and then also to Kiera's family, and that's where we're looking for our community for help.
Thank you both so much for coming in today to talk with us about this. A good place to get in contact with you, I imagine, would be the Crime Stoppers hotline, yes?
Yeah, absolutely. Crime Stoppers, major crimes at cityofrochester.gov or 911-311. We could report it app. Crime Stoppers, there's a bunch of different ways, and we'll take anonymous tips. Obviously, we love tips that have a name attached to them, but we'll take anonymous tips that'll help steer us in the right direction as well.
Perfect. And we'll post all of that information and much more on our website, foxrochester.com, after the show this morning.
Time right now is 8:55. Much more to come on ARC Rochester.
Stick around. We're back on the other side of the break.
We have much more to get to here on ARC Rochester as we continue into the 9 o'clock hour. Stephanie Joseph will be breaking down our top political stories.
Yeah, she joins us from the live desk with a preview of what we can expect at 9. Hey, Steph.
Hey there. In today's Political Pulse, we explore the details of a new plan from the Trump administration to encourage illegal immigrants to self-deport, how much they are being offered, and the response from the border czar. Plus, what to expect as Canada's Prime Minister and President Trump prepare to meet today. And the effort from Senator Chuck Schumer exempting small businesses from tariffs. Also, the new personnel cuts expected in the military after a directive from Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth. That's all coming up in our 9 o'clock hour. ARC Rochester returns right after this.
Dan, what time is it?
9:01.
It's not 9, 10, 9.
9, 10, 9.
Oh, man, it's a Tuesday. What are you going to do? That's Abby Fridman. I'm Dan Schrack. That is Mark McLean. We'll get a check of his forecast in just a minute. First, a check of the top stories this morning. Stephanie Joseph, now with your Arc Rochester news break.
Here are some of the top local stories that we're following this Tuesday. A former corrections officer has entered a guilty plea to manslaughter in the death of Rochester native Robert Brooks. Christopher Walrath appeared before a judge on Monday, admitting to his role in the beating death. He now faces 15 years in prison and 5 years post-release supervision at sentencing in early August. Now, back in December, Brooks was transferred to Marcy Correctional Facility while serving a 12-year sentence for assault when that encounter happened. He died the next day. Walrath was initially charged with second-degree murder alongside 5 other corrections officers. 3 other officers are charged with manslaughter, and another faces an evidence tampering charge. But the special prosecutor says the pain Walrath inflicted was non-lethal, as most of the serious harm happened in the emergency room. The son of Robert Brooks responding to the plea in a statement that said in part, quote, "I pray that Mr. Walrath has the opportunity in prison to rehabilitate himself and come out a better man. This is what every single person in prison deserves, but it was viciously taken away from my father." Walrath is expected to return to court for sentencing in early August. A man is recovering from serious injuries after a fight on Monroe Avenue. Rochester police say the 54-year-old was struck in the upper body with a broken glass bottle yesterday afternoon near Alexander Street. He is expected to survive. A 31-year-old suspect was arrested. We are told he'll be charged with second-degree assault. A 44-year-old man is recovering from serious injuries after crashing into a tree in Rochester's Upper Falls neighborhood. Police say it happened just before 5 on St. Paul Street near Clifford Avenue. Firefighters had to rescue the driver, who was taken to the hospital. Investigators believe he was speeding northbound, crossed into oncoming traffic, hit a curb and sign, then slammed into the tree. The cause is still under investigation. Greece police have arrested 2 women after a road rage incident on Dewey Avenue. Take a look here, all caught on surveillance video. Officers say 2 vehicles crashed as one was pulling out of a driveway, sparking a fight between the people in both cars. Police say 23-year-old Felicia Freese had her 2-month-old child in the car without a proper safety seat. During the altercation, officers say 22-year-old Alyssa Ho grabbed a shotgun from her car and pointed it at the other group. Both women are facing multiple charges. For all these top stories and any updates, be sure to visit 13wham.com. Back to you guys.
All right, Steph, thanks. We'll get a check of the forecast now, as well as our answer to our weather trivia question of the day.
Yeah. So how hot can it get? Mm-hmm. What do you
Some
say?
like it hot.
Some do.
Can we see those options one more time?
Yeah, weather trivia. We're talking about heat this morning. What's the hottest temperature recorded by a weather device on the planet's surface? So again, this would be outside of a laboratory or someplace where you could obviously make temperatures warmer, but 150 degrees, 139 degrees, was it 134 or 125 degrees?
I was going 139.
139?
I was going 134.
Okay, so it is in the United States.
We have other responses, though.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
And
We've
Julie
got
says
quite a few.
B. Julie R. says C. Over 100 in the shade. Yeah, it is, Cindy. It is. Nancy said not related. Can we turn off the showers?
Yeah, right.
That's great. Janet and Wayne go C, and Michael says B. So what is the answer on the old trivia today? If you guessed C.
Yes.
Wow, 2 days.
I think if you take that streak back to last week, I think it's like 4.
You don't take them back.
Okay, can I take a guess as to where it is?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll give you a hint.
Okay.
This place has an elevation of negative 282 feet. So 282 feet below sea level.
Oh, okay. Maybe I don't know then.
Where are you guessing?
Well, I don't really know what that means when you say that.
Well, sea level.
Yes.
Like the Atlantic Ocean, Pacific Ocean,
Okay,
70%
yes.
of the planet. Yeah.
Yep.
So this place would be
God.
below
that.
Or your
that
question
level.
relates to
Well,
something
no,
else.
I know, but I don't know. I don't know much about this place. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is it Death Valley?
Yes, it is.
Let's go. Are you serious?
Yeah, it is. It's Death Valley, California. Yeah, it was Furnace Creek Ranch, Furnace Valley Ranch. I'm going to get that name wrong, but it was over 100 years ago, but the hottest place year-round is Dalal, Ethiopia. The only time that the average daily high temperature isn't over 100 degrees is in January and February.
Wow.
Can you imagine that?
That's crazy.
Yeah, there's an area there that sinks down also, much like Death Valley. And anytime the air has to sink in weather, it compresses and it warms. So usually the hottest places, and especially in our area, we watch the Genesee Valley. And you always watch the temperature map. We get this question all the time. Why is Dansville always the hottest place on your maps? And it's because of the elevation. All the air has to sink down into that valley to get down to Dansville. So that's why it makes it the hottest spot.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Pretty
cool, right? Let's talk about the Muddy Paws.
It's pretty hot.
You're right. You're right. We have 2 doggies today.
Look at this.
Mazakeen and Bonnie. Probably Maz for short, I would imagine, right? Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. What are we talking? We're talking wet paws a little bit, but not, both of these days are not washouts. So, you time it out with our weather app. You look at the radar, you get the old walk in, get the dog out there, but there is a chance of rain both today, tomorrow. It looks like Thursday, Friday, Saturday start to dry out pretty nicely. So have a good little walk with the pups today. Look at those cuties.
Love it.
Still talking about that flood warning. I think that this will be canceled here shortly. We'll see. But in effect until 10:30, Wyoming County, parts of Livingston County, there was some rain down that way before midnight and after midnight. But just since midnight, some of those spots have had up to a ½ inch of rain. So a lot of this is going to be running off into some of the creeks out that direction. You get into western Wyoming County, you start to look at the Cayuga Creek and the Canasarega Creek well to our south. But official rain near Rochester is just 1/100th of an inch since midnight, so not enough to be a cause for concern. But we did get 10 local storm reports of flash flooding. So this would be, water over roadways, flooded parking lots, that kind of thing, down towards Steuben County, especially one in southern Livingston County. Also, the rain this morning is off to the east. The live scan picks that up pretty nicely towards the Syracuse area. And notice how that rain keeps going over the same spots. That's called training in weather, and when that happens, that gives you a higher likelihood that some of those localized spots could see some flooding. So we'll have to watch areas out towards Syracuse today. It looks like some of the rain may be steadier out that direction, but same old story in weather. Has not been a fan favorite here. This is called cut-off low pressure, and watch it spin. It's going to start to move off to the east of Rochester slowly as we go through time. So there's that big red L. It's up in the Adirondacks. It's up in the St. Lawrence River Valley there. Wednesday, and as we go through Wednesday night and Thursday, we'll finally get a cold front to push through and clear out the clogged kitchen drain, so to speak, for weather, right? Temps in the upper 60s today, mostly cloudy, a few passing showers, although we've got some sunshine right now, which is kind of nice to see. It's going to be in the mid-60s for Wednesday. It's going to be cooler on Thursday and Friday, no doubt about that. For the start of the Lilac Festival, we'll be in the upper 50s for Mom on Sunday. Looks like an ideal setup. We'll cross our fingers on this one, but back to near 70, very comfortable. Some sunshine back in the forecast and mid-70s towards next Monday. So next week is going to warm up back through the 70s. Possibly, we'll see if we get back to near 80.
Okay. Can we move the plants outdoors?
There are no sub-freezing temperatures. If it was tropicals, I think I would probably hold off. But with overnight temperatures in the 40s, you've got your hardy stuff. It's all fine. I've taken some plants.
You have?
Outside. Yeah. Stuff that's hardy. I planted up all the elephant ears, the cannas, and all the bulbs that they can't tolerate sub-freezing temperatures. I've got them in pots and half whiskey barrels. You've seen those, but I can slide them back in the garage if it gets cold.
I've got
one night.
2 hibiscus trees that need to see some sunlight.
So let's see what that forecast does next week. If we get into a warmer pattern, we hold 60s, 70s. That's okay. They survive that kind of weather. That's not their favorite weather. They like high heat and high humidity, but. We're getting there.
Their favorite weather isn't my living room weather either.
No, it isn't.
You should see them. They're sad.
I can't wait to get them back outside, and Kim can't wait before the plants go outside.
Oh, I'm sure.
I have to get the deck ready first, though.
When is moving day for that big monster plant?
Yeah.
It's usually the 3rd week of May. I can't move it in and out more than once because it's so large. Mm-hmm. It's a plumeria tree, so it's a one and done. So I just make sure.
How tall is it?
It's about 10 feet tall now. Yeah, about 6 feet wide or so. Goes through the sliding glass door like a corkscrew. I have to spin it to get the branches through.
Amazing.
All right, McLean,
Yeah.
thank you. We
Yeah.
appreciate it.
Yeah.
Stick around. When we come back, we're getting a closer look at the hit musical that's closing out OFC Creations' Broadway in Brighton series.
Hey, and don't forget, if you're headed for the door, take us with you. Arc Rochester is streaming live right now on the 13 Wham YouTube channel. We're back on the other side of the break. (9:14). Thanks for sticking with us here on ARC. Rochester is being treated to the music of the Four Seasons with the Broadway hit musical Jersey Boys.
It kicks off this Thursday at OFC Creations. Here to take us behind the curtain of the upcoming show is cast member Adam Marino and cast member Eric Shute. Good morning to you both. Thank you for being here.
Good morning. Thank you.
All right, so let's start right off. We were talking during the commercial break, but for those who are unfamiliar, introduce yourselves and tell us about your character.
So my name is Adam Marino. I play Frankie Valli. Frankie Valli is the lead singer of the Four Seasons and has had a very decorated career all the way from the early 60s up until now. He's still out there performing.
And I'm Eric. I play Bob Gaudio, who is kind of Frankie's partner in crime throughout their mostly booming career. He was kind of the one who came on as their head writer and just bang, hit 3 #1 hits in a row. And they just took off from there. And they've been working together for like 50 years since then.
What is it like to take on these characters that were existing human beings? They're real people. There's a lot of, I feel like, their attributes you have to take on, but you also kind of want to put your own spin and twist on things, no?
Yeah, for sure. Well, when you're taking on historical roles of people who actually exist in real life, you want to look at the time, place that they're coming from, what was the culture back then, all the fads and stuff going on. So you want to take a good look at that and just the person in general, like what are their mannerisms, what's their background.
Yeah. And for you?
Yeah, you have a lot of source material to pull from. I mean, they've been doing live shows and interviews for, 60, almost 70 years now. And what's really great about it is that you're able to take that plus what the script provides you and then put yourself into it. Like, I guess the good news for me is, like, I am a short Italian who sings high, so it's a little easier to jump into that. But, you pull from your own life and you sort of merge the worlds together to make your version of a real person.
Right. So, okay, the sound of the Four Seasons is iconic. Was it difficult to sing that high or to get into that style of music, or did it kind of come naturally?
So I saw Jersey Boys only once in my life. It was in Rochester. One of my friends who's actually a castmate in the show, Paul Uriola, convinced me to go see it at the Auditorium Theater. And I didn't know jukebox musicals existed. I didn't really know who the Four Seasons were. I knew the song "Oh What a Night." I saw a T-shirt with it on it, and I was like, that's not what the show's about. But of course it was what it was about. And I saw the show and just fell in love with it. And I remember going in my car and trying to sing it and being like, I can't do that yet. So then I spent years just training myself how to do it. And luckily, I figured it out.
I mean, but it takes a lot of talent and a lot of skill to hit some of those notes, does it not?
It's a lot of just, I would call it hard work, because like I said, it wasn't something I naturally had. Hard work and water. That's it. Those are the two ingredients.
Yeah. It's kind of no different from going to the gym, just like training the voice to do what you want it to do. And hopefully getting there, just with lots of water and hydration.
Hard work and water.
Yeah.
Writing that down.
Absolutely. Do you think Abby and I have a shot at doing that?
100%.
Wow.
Never too late.
I told you there was
We'll get it. I
We should
believe
take
us.
this show on the road. For somebody sitting at home, what's the elevator pitch? Why come to OFC Creations to see them close out Broadway in Brighton with Jersey Boys?
Oh, gosh. Well, we say a lot, come for the music, stay for the story. You hear a lot of these artists on the radio, and you can ask questions like, well, like, where do they come from? Like, where do they live? How'd they get as big as they are? And you can find a Wikipedia page, sure, but you never get the full scope of where they come from. And Jersey Boys just paints a brilliant picture of how these guys got started and to where they are today.
So this is my 11th time doing the show, but it's my first time doing the show at home. So this is sort of like my homecoming performance of Jersey Boys, I guess. And what's really great about this specific production is it's mostly local. So it's like really a Rochester Boys production of Jersey Boys. We put our own spin on it. It's a lot of fun. It's a very talented cast. And it's a very intimate venue. So you're going to be able to really see this show up close and personal, which when my mom has seen the show, she's seen it in massive theaters and small theaters. She's always preferred the smaller theaters because she really likes to be, she's like, you feel like a character on stage with them. So I think people are going to really enjoy that aspect of it.
Fantastic. Gosh, you guys, thank you so much for being here today. We appreciate it. For somebody who wants tickets, I'm guessing that there are still plenty available, yes?
Yes. We had to add a second Wednesday performance. So there's.
Oh, wow.
That's amazing.
I think this weekend is completely sold out. But if you go online to ofccreations.com and go to their ticket page, and you can look up either Wednesday. Those are wide open, and just look for any others if that doesn't suit your fancy.
Perfect. And we'll post all of that information and much more on our website after the show this morning, foxrochester.com.
Time right now is 9:20. When we come back, Steph will be here breaking down some of our top political headlines.
Your political pulse headed your way next.
It's time for a political pulse check here on ARC Rochester. We began with plans from the Trump administration to pay undocumented immigrants to self-deport. Now, they would get a one-way ticket and $1,000. The Department of Homeland Security says those who self-deport could have the ability to re-enter the U.S. legally in the future. The DHS also says one person has already used the offer and other plane tickets have been booked. The border czar believes many will take advantage of the incentive.
You'll have some movement, right? Because I think people are finally getting the message. If you leave on your own, you can take advantage of legal programs, come back. But we have to go through the process of formally deporting you. There are mandatory bars against you for up to 20 years, sometimes forever.
Now to a meeting between President Trump and Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney. Now, this is the first time the two will meet following the federal election where Carney's Liberal Party won. The Prime Minister said the meeting will focus on tariffs and the broader U.S.-Canada relationship and expects, quote, difficult but constructive conversations. Under President Trump's tariff policy, the U.S. now charges 25% duties for importing Canadian steel, aluminum, and vehicles.
We don't need their cars. We don't need their lumber. We don't need their energy. We don't need anything.
America wants our land, our resources, our water, our country. Never.
Now, the meeting also comes as Trump is reiterating his desire to make Canada the 51st state. Well, Senator Chuck Schumer is throwing his support behind a new bill meant to support small businesses navigating uncertainty with tariffs. The bill, called the Small Business Liberation Act, was introduced by Massachusetts Senator Ed Markey. In remarks yesterday, Schumer said most small businesses are worried about raising prices for consumers or laying off employees. He says billionaires can request exemptions directly, but small businesses can't. Last week, an effort to block Trump's tariffs failed in the Senate. Schumer wants his Republican colleagues to defend small businesses.
Protecting small businesses shouldn't be a partisan issue. It's a national priority. And let's not forget, the 35 million small businesses in America employ 59 million people. That's about half the private sector jobs in the country are in businesses like those depicted here. While Trump has been busy helping the billionaires, Main Street pays the price.
And also this morning, a new directive from Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth will cut the number of four-star generals and admirals in the military. As of 2023, there were about 37 of both. The goal is to cut these roles by at least 20%. A memo from Hegseth also calls for the same for the number of general officers in the National Guard. A 10% reduction is expected for general and flag officers across the military. According to the memo, Hegseth says the cuts are meant to remove, quote, redundant force structure. And finally, a quick reminder that the deadline to get a Real ID to fly in the U.S. is tomorrow. After 20 years of delays since the Real ID Act passed, the federal government is requiring that you get one to board a domestic flight. You know you're Real ID compliant if you have a star at the upper right corner of your license. There will still be time if you do not plan to travel soon. And be sure to stay with ARC Rochester for your top political headlines. We're back after this.
high school?
I was just kidding.
Wow.
I was kidding.
9:28 this Tuesday morning. Thanks so much for sticking with us here on Arc Rochester. We want to turn now to some of the stories that have people talking with a look at what is trending.
Yeah, we'll start things out right now. The happiest place in the world costing the most money in the world, of course. Social media post going after a father, going viral, I should say, after a father shared just how much money he spent to take his family to Disney World for one day.
This is crazy.
Yes, it is.
This is crazy. The father decided to post a breakdown of his trip to give other parents a fair warning of what they are signing up for. Have you ever been to Disney?
Yeah, I was not very young, but I was younger when we went, I think 3rd grade.
Okay.
So young enough to appreciate it, for sure.
Yes. Yes.
All right, so we're going to break it down for you here. The family of 5 from Florida drove to the park, which was 20 minutes away from where they lived. Okay. When they got there, it was $30 for parking.
To get all 5 of them into the park, the price of admission was $974.
Okay, the father went on to say they could have opted for the Lightning Lane Pass, which allows guests to skip the regular line for up to 3 attractions. It's an extra $35 per person, but the family decided against it.
I mean, if you're already spending $934, what's an additional, $120 to cut the line?
I don't know.
Whatever. Once they were inside the park, the spending just was kicking off.
Okay, so they bought 2 water bottles and 3 ice creams, which set them back $29.50.
Then they bought a pretzel and a beer. That was another $19.
Okay. Then it got to lunchtime. We had the beer. It's not even lunchtime.
I know.
I'm not judging. Lunchtime, they totaled a tab of $44.35.
That seems cheap for 5 people, though.
Yeah, I want to know
Disney,
what they got.
Yeah, they split a French fry.
Pizzas.
Pizzas.
Okay.
Okay. The father goes on to say that when they visited the Star Wars-themed park, they spent $101.29 on various branded and movie-inspired food items.
Wow, okay. Then it was time for dinner, and they stopped for some Mexican food, totaling $245.27.
Total.
If I'm spending that, I'm going to need a big margarita.
Yeah, honestly. The total for the day for the family that lives 20 minutes away from the park, $1,391.91.
The father goes on to say they didn't order extra or extravagant food, and that Disney is, quote unquote, unattainable for most families now, sadly.
Okay. I went to Disney.
Recently?
No.
Okay.
As a kid.
Okay.
The year was 1997. I don't know, what was I, 12, 13? Great experience. No idea how much anything cost. Yeah. Didn't have to pay for any of it. Very grateful that I went. But listen, I don't know that that's worth it.
Yeah, I mean, I think it really just depends on the family.
Yeah.
Like,
are you diehard Disney?
Well,
are you like one of those Disney-phile
It's a vacation.
families?
Like, you have to pick and choose, right? Either you're a Disney family, or you're a beach house family, or you're a camping family. Like, I think you're probably like one or the other
Yeah.
I think the reality is it's vacation. You save for vacation, right?
Sure.
In my mind, I'm looking at this and I'm thinking maybe they were under the impression it would be like a quick day trip. It would be like the equivalent of us going to like Six Flags, 20 minutes away. We'll go, we'll pop in, we'll go for the day.
Don't they have Universal Studios there too?
It's not on the same grounds.
No,
it's
but
nearby.
it's Orlando
but
as well.
I think it's like the same price.
Oh, really?
I think so. I want to say. I think it's. Otherwise, like, how could you really compete?
I'm willing to bet they could have saved money by booking some flights. Spirit Airlines to Sandusky, Ohio, and gone to the amusement park there. Or, I don't know, come to Western New York and gone to Darien Lake. That just seems like a lot of money for a theme park.
And I think it's, it's so great. I think every kid wants that opportunity to go to Disney World at some point. And I'm sure that is a memory that will last with them forever.
Bucket list.
I also think, I don't even know if I want to say this.
Say it.
I'm not a parent, so I feel weird.
You've already teed it up. Go for it.
I would never want my kids to know that it was a lot of money to take them somewhere and create a good memory. I'd never want to be like, wow, this was unacceptable, and, like kind of feel that guilt. Do you know what I'm saying?
Oh, I don't think you do it in a guilty way, but I think there's
I
think there's 100% value in teaching your kids that this is how much it costs.
Absolutely, but I'm just saying, like, he's on social media, he's made this big long video. At some point the kids are gonna see it, and they're gonna say, like, we didn't need this. We didn't need the extra water bottle. We didn't need all the Disney merch. Like,
well, I don't know that he's even doing it for that reason. I think it's just a be forewarned. If you go, you better be prepared, because we didn't. Because it doesn't sound like this was a planned trip to drive 20 minutes. It was we're gonna do Disney for the day. We've not done it. We've lived here for a while.
Sure.
Let's all go. We get there. We realize what the prices are and what we're in for.
Yeah.
And I think then there is sticker shock.
Yeah.
There is.
Yeah.
All right, let's move along. What do you call your significant other? What do you call your significant other?
Wouldn't you like to know? A very...
Hubby?
Okay, so if you're a fan of pet names, you may be one of the only ones. Coca-Cola recently conducted a study alongside the return of their Share a Coke campaign. According to their findings, Gen Z is moving away from traditional pet names like Hun and Darling, deeming them outdated.
Instead, they found that younger daters are choosing personalized nicknames that reflect who their partner actually is.
Popular choices among Gen Z include Bro. I'm called that one a lot, actually. Bro. Bestie, Queen, King, Shawty, Day One, and Fam.
According to the study, the shift is not rebellious, but an expression of affection.
Do you know how many times a day I'm called bro by my husband? It's a lot.
Really?
Yes. We've had a conversation about it.
Really?
And we're not Gen Z.
No.
Do you get upset about that, Abby? Because I get upset when I'm called bro.
Does he
by my significant other?
Does he call you bro?
Sometimes it's like, come on, bro. But it's like, most of the time when he's referring to me, it's a different pet name. But a lot of the time in conversation, it is bro.
What is that different pet name?
It's the pet name, Ashley.
You don't have to know my personal business.
Kitten?
Ew, 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 no.
Okay. All right. No, it doesn't upset me when I'm called bro, but I'm very aware of it, and sometimes I'll do it back in a mocking way. But no, it's usually when like something insane happens, and he's like, bro, you're not going to believe this. And then I'm like, bro, tell me, bro, because I'm your bro, not your wife.
Not your wife.
All right. 42% of Gen Zers say they feel happier and more loved when they're called by those nicknames.
Okay. So Coca-Cola says they will start, they'll use these findings, rather, to start branding some of their other products with these nicknames to create a more personalized experience. I was called Babe for a period of time.
Yeah? Not a fan?
Not one bit. Not one bit.
Yeah.
You know what I prefer?
Yeah. Dan. Daniel, your government name?
Yes.
Yeah. Bro.
Whoa. Watch it, McLean. Watch it. All right, we'll move along.
I want to know what Mark is called.
Yes. What do they call? What does she call you? Aw, Mrs. McLean calls him Marky.
Cute.
Aw. Something tells me it's yelled, though. Marky! Is it?
She doesn't yell. Not that I've seen.
Me?
Yeah. Yeah. He gets yelled at constantly. Rightfully so, though, Mrs. McLean. Keep it up.
We're on your side.
Yes. Let's move along to some very serious fashion stories. A bag is bringing Jurassic back. What?
Researchers and bioengineers are working to create the next cruelty-free and sustainable luxury handbag using lab-grown leather from fossilized T-Rex remains.
Okay, this sounds strange. According to scientists, they're using T-Rex collagen to develop this material.
Oh, no!
This is all I had.
That T-Rex is eating that, I don't
Dan
know,
when he's eating
raptor?
breakfast.
Yeah, right?
If successful, this would develop a biodegradable, cruelty-free, and sustainable alternative. According to the creative partners, the decision to utilize the T-Rex is to portray how ancient biology can create a next-generation material that will ultimately influence the future of luxury goods.
Okay, what's the price tag? Do we get into that at all?
We don't know yet. It's in the early stages of development.
Something tells me it is going to be unattainable for most. The initial implementation of T-Rex leather will focus on accessories with the goal of producing a flagship commercial luxury fashion brand by the end of the year.
Future applications may include automotive interiors and other industries. Some say it's revolutionary and creative. Others are saying it's misleading and a way to make money off of interest.
You're driving around in your little sports car, and they want to know what kind of interior package you've got, and you've got the T-Rex. Like, I don't know.
I think it would cost more than a trip to Disney World.
Me too. I think take the family to Disney.
I didn't even get a new car. Do you remember like a month ago when I was like, I need a new car? It's making a noise, it's shaking, it's not gonna, it didn't pass inspection.
You pulled the steering wheel off when you walked into work.
Yeah. Guess what? Still driving it.
Still working.
Still working.
Listen, as long as it works, it's just got to get you from A to B safely.
That's all we need.
Yeah, A to B safely
No,
and do 0 to 90 in 6 seconds. That's all she needs.
You need to stop with that.
Stick around. When we come back, we're looking ahead to a special fundraiser that's bringing music, dance, glitter, and gold.
Don't forget, take us on the go wherever you are. Stream us live right now on the 13 Wham YouTube channel. We're back after this. Welcome back. It is that time of year once again. Some of our region's brightest stars are headed to East Rochester for this year's Sing Out event.
Yeah, the tradition will take the stage at the ER Auditorium this weekend. And here to explain more of what you can expect, we're joined now by some of the performers. Good morning to you all. Thank you so much for waking up bright and early and coming in. Are we missing school for this?
Yes.
Yes. That's a good thing. We like
All
that, right? Do we want to go down the line quickly? We'll pass the mic as we go and introduce ourselves, say our name, our age, and our grade.
Yeah. I'm Jack Lamberts. I am 17 and I'm a junior.
I'm Dalton Mazo. I'm 16 and I'm also a junior.
I'm Sarah Darter. I'm 17 and I'm also a junior.
I'm Carolyn Williams and I just turned 14 and I'm in 8th grade.
I'm Kim Viterbo. I'm 18 years old and I'm a senior.
I'm Dominic Romack. I'm 17 years old and I'm a senior.
I'm Lucy Walter. I'm 17 years old and I'm a junior.
I'm Ella Romack. I'm 17 and I'm a junior.
I'm Annie Fisher. I'm 16 and I'm a junior.
Very
All
nice.
right, excellent. All right, so tell us a little bit about Sing Out 2025. You guys must be looking forward to it, yes?
Yes.
Great, tell us about it.
So Sing Out 2025 is really a fun annual charity show. High schoolers from all over the Monroe County are volunteered to do it, and we do a lot of fun things like singing, acting, and dancing, and it's just a fun charity show. We're excited to show.
So you said from all over Monroe County. Are you all from the same school?
No.
No.
No. So what was that process like, getting to know, brand new peers that you're working with just for this one specific event?
It was a lot of fun because I came in. I knew a good amount of these people from school, but like Sarah and Dalton of this group, I had no clue who they were, and it was just fun to get to know new people and get to work with new people.
I bet. So we were talking during the commercial break, and quite a bit of practice has gone into getting ready for this.
Months, hours, weeks, days, depending on who you ask.
Depending on who you ask. What has the rehearsal process been like? Work at home and then work when you all get together? What does it look like?
Yeah, so together it's basically you learn what you have to do, and then you go home and you have to practice it on your own. So then when you come back the next week, it's one practice a week up until about now when we start putting a lot of work in. And it's you go home, you learn what you have to do there, you go home, you practice, get good at it, so then when you're back the next week.
The theme this year is glitter and gold. Can you explain that to us?
Well, each year the theme is based on one of our songs, and we have a song called Glitter and Gold, so it's kind of just
fits.
Yeah, it's just like the theme of the show, and yeah.
What is your favorite part of the show? Well, anybody can answer this, I guess, if they feel particularly passionate. But yeah.
My favorite part of the show, particularly this year, is our kids number. I like that we can bring our community into it and we can make a lasting impact on future generations.
Wow.
Now, is this the first time all of you have performed in this show, or have you done this in years past?
It's my first time.
Your first
Yeah.
time. What was the experience like versus, or what is the experience like versus what you expected it to be?
It's just really fun, getting to know new people and I don't know. It's just really fun to be in this group.
You're enjoying yourself.
Yeah, I'm enjoying myself.
Good. Good.
Do we get stage fright, or at this point, is it just kind of, it's old hat, no big deal?
It's definitely, for me, it's kind of just old at this point. But it's also, Sing Out's a little different because it's not really, you realize it's not really about you. It's about giving back to the community and the charity. So.
All right, now I have one important question, and I didn't ask anybody before we started, so I'm hoping somebody has the right information here. If someone at home wants to see you guys perform live, when, where, and how do they get tickets?
Our shows are Friday, May 9th and Saturday, May 10th at East Rochester High School at 7:30 p.m. And you can get tickets at the door or at sing-out.com or on Facebook. And tickets are $10 for adults. $12 for adults, $10 for students and seniors.
Wow.
Perfect.
I'm impressed. That was
Yeah.
good. Usually when we don't ask that ahead of time, people kind of panic. So nice job.
Good work. Good work. And you guys are going to stick around because you at home are getting a preview of what you can expect when these teens take the stage. What are we going to be hearing from you?
It's a surprise.
Yes, it's a surprise. Don't go anywhere. Arc Rochester returns after this. 9:49, thanks so much for sticking with us. We are back now with some of the performers gearing up for the annual Sing Out fundraiser, and it's all kicking off this weekend.
Yeah, we've got the microphones in front of us because that means we're getting a very special performance from these talented teens. You guys, thanks for sticking around. We appreciate it. What are we going to be hearing from you?
The last shanty.
Oh, okay. All right,
Very nice.
good.
And for one more time, we're going to give somebody else the opportunity this go around. For somebody sitting at home, if they want to get tickets, if they want to learn more, when, where, what do they need to know?
May 9th and 10th at 7:30 at East Rochester High School. You can get tickets online, at the door, at sing-out.com, or on Facebook or any other social media.
These kids are going places. You're going places. All right, take it away.
Well, my father often told me when I was just a lad, a sailor's life is very hard and the food is always bad. But now I joined the Navy, I'm aboard a man of war, and now I found a sailor ain't a sailor anymore. Don't haul on the rope, don't climb up the mast. If you see a sailor ship, it might be your last. Just get your civvies ready for another run ashore. A sailor ain't a sailor, ain't a sailor anymore. Well, the killing goes our best. He says we had it soft. It wasn't like that in his day when we were up aloft. We like our bunks and sleeping bags, but what's a hammock for? Swinging from the deckhead or lying on the floor. Don't haul on the rope, don't climb up the mast. If you see a sailor ship, it might be your last. Just get your civvies ready for another run ashore. A sailor ain't a sailor, ain't a sailor anymore. Gave us an engine that first went up and down, but then with more technology, the engine went around. We love our steam and diesel, but what's the main for? A soaker ain't a stoker with a shovel anymore. Don't haul on the rope, don't climb up the mast. If you see a sailor ship, it might be your last. Just get your civvies ready for another run ashore. A sailor ain't a sailor, ain't a sailor anymore. They gave us an altar slam so we could do it right. They gave us the radio, we sing day and night. We know our codes and ciphers, but what's a semaphore? A button tosser doesn't toss a button anymore. Don't haul on the rope, don't climb up the mast. If you see a sailor ship, it might be your last. Just get your civvies ready for another run ashore. A sailor ain't a sailor, ain't a sailor anymore. And that's your bleeding lot. But now we got an extra one because they stopped the tide. So we'll put on our civvy clothes, invite a pub ashore. A sailor's just a sailor, just like she was before. Don't haul on the rope, don't climb up the mast. If you see a sailor ship, it might be your last. Just get your civvies ready for another run ashore. A sailor ain't a sailor, ain't a sailor anymore. A sailor ain't a sailor, ain't a sailor anymore. A sailor ain't a sailor, ain't a sailor anymore. Hey!
The reflexes on our crew. I'll
Wow.
tell you what, second to none.
Unbelievable.
Second to none.
I thought we weren't going to make it.
I know. Time for our final thoughts this Tuesday morning. Who's got what?
Fun morning. I thought those kids were so impressive.
great.
Yeah, so
really,
much
really
energy.
talented.
Yeah.
Yep.
Absolutely. Steph?
Well, I mean, I was gonna agree with you guys. What's wrong with that?
Lots of
Okay,
energy.
you can have that one. I'm gonna pick Jim. Help me out with the last name. Already forgot. The sports
Oh,
excellence.
yes.
Inner excellence.
Ooh,
Yes, I
that's
thought he was
good.
great.
Yeah.
I really
That's
did.
good. I
Yes.
liked that.
It's cool seeing the drafts and all the fun at the zoo, right?
Absolutely. I'm going to go with the fun weather facts this morning. Even though I have lost now 2 days in a row with our question,
And that's the temperature in the shade.
I'm taking it in
Right?
stride.
134. 134.
In the shade.
In the shade.
That's wild.
That's wild.
Yeah, that's
Can
incredible.
you imagine?
Last time we had 100 in Rochester was 1953.
Really?
June of 1953.
What?
Isn't that crazy? Yeah. I mean, the Great Lakes are like giant air conditioners. I mean,
Yeah.
that's the way we look at it in the summertime. We get lake breeze thunderstorms because of the lakes, all the
We
cold
are
air that
lucky
comes off.
to have those.
Yeah.
Yep.
Absolutely. All right. Anybody else?
I don't know. My IFB's dead, so I have no idea.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. Our batteries are dying. That means we have to go away for the rest of the day. And that does it for us here on ARC Rochester. Make sure to wake up with us again tomorrow morning starting at 4:57. Where are we at that time?
13 Wham, ABC.
Right.
You can join Steph and Mark there later today for 13 Wham News at midday.
Bye.